Hey, what's up? I'm Pan the Fiddler, and we're back with another time lapse. Continuing on with the Coaster Makeover Challenge. This was the Rockwork episode that was promised. Not a whole lot to say. We're doing rocks. The theme is a Himalayan mountain, and today we're making the mountain. There's also a lot of like tunnels and ice caves to do. So if you love rocks, you're in the right place. If you don't love rocks, I suggest you reassess your priorities and learn to love rocks, because there's nothing quite like good rock work. End of soundbite. Going to be starting with the main peak that goes up the Lifthill. This is kind of like the big visual point, or what's the word I'm looking for? The viewpoint. Disney would call them a weenie, but I don't really like that word. Anyway, this is what your people are going to see from far away. You also get like a really nice view of it from the courtyard, from the entrance to the blueprint. So I want to make sure it feels big, feels like a tall mountain, even though it's not actually that tall. It's hard to do like forced perspective with rocks, but you can kind of do it by using maybe smaller ones up at the top and yeah, giving it that jagged look. I want it to have that look that's, it's like a real mountain, has lots of crevices and couloirs and chutes and spires, and it looks like it could be in the Himalayas. I've mentioned a few times before how I wanted to approach this blueprint in like an economical way, and make sure I'm doing things in the right order so I don't run out of pieces for anything important. And after I finished blocking out all the buildings and getting the roller coaster layout right, I felt like Rockwork was the next step, just because rocks are pretty piece efficient, especially with scaling now. But I also knew that like for the back half of this roller coaster here, they were going to be the only decoration. It was just going to be rocks, and then the snow would add detail on top of them. But I wanted the rockwork to look good, so I didn't want to have to sacrifice any pieces, and I wanted to do it first, and then once I was done with that, I could assess how much I could budget for like all of the rest of it, the interiors and the building decoration. That mountain kind of got stood up pretty quick, and that's kind of the way it goes. I think the individual pieces, it feels like they tend to come together pretty quickly, and then what takes the longest and takes the most amount of effort, concentration, is all of the transitions. So like the mountain got stood up pretty quick, but like all of the little tunnels, the transitions, the places where it meets the buildings, meets the underground cavern area, has to interact with the ride. Those are the parts that take the longest. And speaking of those, we're transitioning to this final helix. I wanted it to be in an ice cave, and I didn't film this part, but I wanted to try to do some kind of effect that looked like, you know how in ice caves you kind of have that smooth ice that occurs that's almost like glass, and then it fades into like a dark blue. I wanted to try to give that effect. I thought about glass, but I think the water panels were better. It's okay. I think if it wasn't like you only see it in a roller coaster as you pass by really quickly, I think I might not have been happy with this effect and the way that it came out. But I think from the perspective of the ride, you fly by so quickly that it gets close enough to the desired effect here. I had some pools down here to the bottom of the underground areas. Those eventually get replaced with water shapes because I didn't realize, or maybe I did realize, but I'd forgotten that when you turn the weather to snow, pools freeze over, and I wanted those to be like actual liquid water in the ride experience. So when it comes to rockwork or making like any kind of natural shape or natural forms, I think it's important to remember, and this is going to be sort of my own way of thinking about it, and I'm a very like math and technical oriented person, so I apologize. I'm about to use math speak, but like what I learned about in chaos theory was that like fractal geometry is the geometry of the natural world. And for those that aren't familiar, a fractal is just a shape or a pattern that has self-similarity, meaning that if sort of the classic explanation is if you zoom in on it, it kind of looks the same. It has detail at all scales. And I think self-similarity in particular is an important thing to remember for doing rock work. I think you don't want it to look the same. You don't want it to look like a pile of the same rocks spammed everywhere, but you also don't want it to look like total randomness. It has to fit somewhere in between. It has to have elements that kind of echo each other. Like if you just go out and look at like a real rock formation, there you'll see sort of the same kind of pattern, the same sort of detail repeated a lot, just in like a slightly different way. And that actually comes from the way that they form. They form from the same process, the same kinds of processes occurring over and over again, with slightly different variations to it. So I'm using a lot of the same pieces, and you'll see a lot of times where I will use the same piece 2 or 3 times in the same area, just rotated kind of slightly to give that that idea of self-similarity, just to make it look quote unquote natural. I mentioned that transitions are like some of the hardest parts, or some of the most time-consuming parts to get right. And this section of the roller coaster that starts here in this second hill and continues through the overbank turn and into the following hill before the mid-course is like one long transition. You're going to see it kind of in across the rest of the episodes in this series that I'm just going to have to work on every single little bit of it, like really kind of carve it out. Like it goes from the mountains down to the underground area, interacts with the buildings, interacts with where I end up putting like a gift shop, passes over the entrance, goes into the other tower, has to go back into the underground area, and then back out before reaching up to the mid-course. So this is just the first little section of that. And yeah, like it took me just about as long to build this little part as it did to build like the whole mountain. And that was the Rockwork episode. We have a mountain now, and now we get to do what I think is the fun stuff. Gonna be decorating the courtyard, decorating the underground space next time, and that's where it really starts to look good. Look like more than just a plan. So yeah, hope y'all stick around. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.